Hi, folks. I'm going to use a notepad over here just to take some notes before we get into coding the static web page for class exercise number 4 with it. Because I know a lot of you are thinking you already know how to code a static web page and all this stuff with it. Yeah, you do in the regular traditional HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that you do with it. Yeah, those were the old days with it. Like I said, we're getting onto a new platform now. So I want you to start thinking about React and how React work with it, because it's a different type of thinking if you are thinking about coding it from scratch on HTML or CSS and external CSS and inline CSS and embedded CSS. Again, those set of skills that you have from Web 1 still carry over to today with it, but it's a different mindset that I would like for you to think about. So I want you to think in React way with it, and the way how I want you to think is it's like this: we're not going to get into the meat of this yet with it, because I'm going to start you out with the milk, or if some of you are vegetarian, we could do salad with it. But I want you to start thinking about what a meal looks like, okay, or a web page looks like, and start thinking how you prepare a complete web page or a complete meal, how it works with it. And the thing is, if you recall, I had you in class exercise number 3. I had you log on to Figma and kind of went in and kind of did a layout, using layout with it. The mistake I didn't tell you is that the process in the past is still the same. As you still create what's called wireframe, and the wireframe you take it to the web page, right? So actuality in wireframe wise, the first step that you do is in any type of design is you start with the wireframe, right? Well, actually, everything starts out with pencil and paper, right? And paper with it. So you draw this out, you draw the layout. Layout starts here, right? And then once you get this layout on paper with it, now there's no color at all with it. It's all pencil and paper with it. The next step is you take this into something like a designing tool like Figma, all right, or Adobe XD. This is what we tool with it, and we do a layout with this thing just to demonstrate the layout, demonstrate the wireframe with it. And from the wireframe, you see the functionality of the links to one link to another link with it. Whether this is an app, whether this is a home page, that's how that still looks like it with it as well. I mean, the process is still there with it, right? But what's more important is that I want you to start thinking about when you come to the step that you think about what you will, the process of why we use React with it, okay? And start thinking about how React work with it as well. So this is all good. It's still there with it. But when it comes to when you come and you all this is approved and you lay this out with it, the next step is you really have to code it, all right, or develop it. I should say code/develop the layout, all right. So you think about developing it and you do the layout for it and all this stuff with it. So I want you to start thinking about why use React with it as well. So I mean, the concept is still there at what you have with it. So and you got to think about why do we even care about React? I mean, why? And then I want to talk to you about what is JS. All right, is a JavaScript type of XML type of language with it. So I'm going to get into some of that as well with it. But it's not solely just JavaScript. It's another flavor of JavaScript with it. Okay. So, and then we're going to talk about components and how do you customize components. And bear with me with some of these language I'm speaking with you as well. And then lastly, you still have to style it, right? So we're going to do the styling. This is where the styling comes in with it. It's the CSS part with it, and still there with it. It's not going away with it, right? So when we start to think about the coding part of it, the developing side of it, you still have a lot of things that's going on that's in here with it. So let me pause the video right now, and I'm going to jump into Visual Code, and then we're going to just practice some basic JavaScript first of all. All right, like I said, I want to take you baby step to JavaScript to React script with it as well. So so there is what's called, I call it vanilla JavaScript with it. It hasn't gone away, because understanding the basic vanilla JavaScript with it, React JavaScript is the same model with it. Okay, so we'll do some vanilla JavaScript with it, just to talk between the index.html and your index.css with it, between the two, and then we're going to bring in the React library file and the React Doom library file and its syntax with it. And of course, eventually we'll code the Figma static page that I gave you. All right. So all this is that's the plan for this particular exercise number 4 with it, is to give you a flavor of a static web page before we get into the nitty-gritty of it as well. All right. So it's about 6 minutes into the video. There's 2 ways that I share with you before we get started on this thing. If you recall, I share with you there's 2 ways of starting React, right? With it, and it really depends on how you look at it. There's actually, I had you do the easy way, right? Or you do it the correct way, right? So the easy way was what? If you recall, we installed the Node.js, right? And you ran a command line. Let me word wrap this document right here. It is. You ran a command line. Remember what that command line was? npx create react, come on, app, and you call the app call my app, and this automatically goes to that website and it pulls it down from the GitHub, installs it into, and you did this on command line. Remember that? And I'm going to show you, that's probably the easiest way to do this, is to pull that template down, and then you delete stuff out of it and kind of fix it the way how you want it, right? That's what we did for lab 1 and 2 basically with it, and I had you do a lot of DOS commands, so you'd be with it. There's an entire course in DOS command, by the way. I just gave you about 4 or 5 commands in there as well. The other part is that I want you to start thinking about the correct way of doing this. And so as I share with you, I lost my mouse here. Where's my mouse here? I share with you what we're going to do is we're going to embed some the CDN files in an existing web page, right? And we're going to do that. I'm going to show you how to do that. There's 3 CDN files that I'm going to actually have you pull in with it. So there are a couple ways you could do that. And then, of course, the third way, I'm not going to put it here until I don't want to confuse you with it. You bring in dependency with it. Of course, there is the third way is to do the dependency dependencies files with it as well. So what does that mean? Meaning that you import in the library files. All right. So it doesn't really matter in how you want to do this thing. We're going to just, you did this one already, okay? So we're going to do this one here, how do you embed in CDN files with it into your code with it. Okay, so that's what this particular lab number 4 is all about. We're going to focus on how to bring in this template, the CDN files that connects to the web with it, and we're going to bring it in with it as well. This is for later. I'm not going to bother with this way with it, but we're going to tackle that in a second here with it as well. All right. So let me jump to. I'm going to pause the recording right now, and then I'm going to start part B fresh in the second part, and we're going to do some coding with it as well. All right. So this will conclude the first part of your class exercise number 4. Stay tuned.